This mobility routine is going to be excellent for your lower leg day. If you're going to be doing stuff like squats, deadlifts, lunges, anything that's literally going to work on a sort of internal, external rotation, hip extension, knee flexion, and adduction and abduction of the hips, essentially. So the first position we're going to get into is a 90-90 stretch. So 90 degrees from here to here, here to here to here. Once I'm in this position, hand in front of that knee, if you can, hand in front of this foot here. From this position, I'm going to think about pushing my chest up to the ceiling, and then just big deep breath in, exhale forward, and find that stretch. And that's it there. So I feel that right around my glute on my left side. I kind of feel it on the inside of my hip, and I'm starting to feel this, what we call here, external rotation of the lead leg, and that internal rotation of the back leg there. And we're going to stay in this position for about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how tight you are. So today, I'm going to be working on squats, specifically heavy SSB squats, hence the bar there. And I want to make sure that my internal and external rotation of my hips are going to be equal, so that when I come to doing the lift, I feel smooth on the way down. My hips can be in a preset position. And what we're talking about here is cognitive ability, the ability to learn. So I'm teaching my body right now the communication between the limb and the brain to understand that this position will be utilized during the association of that task, the squat, you see. So staying in this position, starting to loosen off, big deep breath in, chest up, lean forward. And one thing you don't want to do here is do this. That's not what we're looking for. Looking to come right up, looking forward and into that position. Once we've done that leg, you guessed it, turn around, 90-90 on this side. 90-90, hand in front, and I'm a lot tighter on this side. So actually, I might need to push my hand out to the side here to accommodate for that stiffness, which really collects around my lower back here. From that position, chest up, lean forward. Immediately, I can start to feel that loosen off. And I'm keeping my legs in this position. It's almost like a half swastika. I don't want that tucked in. I create more pain. I just want that out here, and you don't want it out too far. However, if you do have knee pain, you might find that this position can be a little uncomfortable, but generally we should be fine. And again, just sitting in this position. So now, right leg, external rotation of the hip as this comes up. Back leg, internal rotation of the hip as that foot pushes down. And again, big deep breath in. Hands crawl, lean forward, sink into it, looking forward, finding that position. Big stretch. Breathing into it, just relaxing basically. That feels good. Then we step out, gently. Next position will be what we call a frog stretch. Hands out in front of you like so. 4-point, knees wide, foot comes out. Be really gentle with this position, guys. From here, I'm just going to push back, open my legs up as far as they can get without pulling my groin and pushing back into the hips, even coming down onto my forearms now. And from here, I don't want to extend my butt to the ceiling like this. I actually want to pull it in a bit, create a tiny bit of internal rotation at the hips, and what we call posterior tilt there, bringing it forward. So in this position, big stretch again. Now we're working on abduction and adduction of the legs. So if you were to stand on one spot and push your leg away from you, that's going to be abduction. As you pull your leg back in, that's going to be a deduction or adduction. So this position is simulating that position, which again is something we use at the bottom of the squat when we need to come back up. So I can start to feel the groin heat up. We'll stay here again, 30, 45 a minute. Just teaching the body what position to be in. Big deep breath in and sink in. Posterior tilt. And that's it. Feet come together gently, pushing up. Now we're going to work on knee flexion, which is this position here. and hip extension, which is this position here, on that bend. So I'm gonna put my right leg on the back here, bring it all the way down. And I want this front leg to be at 90 degrees. I want this back leg to be in a really straight position. And the glute, my butt cheek, is touching the heel. And what I'm gonna do from here is to create a stretch there, is I'm actually gonna squeeze this back cheek, and kind of what we do here is this posterior tilt again, bring the hips forward, and create a big stretch up through here from the shoulder to the hip to the knee. So that is hip extension now. And that is also knee flexion. And again, we sort of stay here for 35, 45, 1 minute, because this is going to teach us to be stretched out in that extended position, also helping us in the lower part of the squat. And it's going to teach our knee to go through full knee flexion, which is paramount for driving the knee over the front of the toe in your squat. So just sitting in this position, again, and big deep breaths. And if you feel like you want to go deeper, big deep breath in, exhale, sink in a bit harder. You do not want to sort of drift forward in this position. You want to sit back into it, okay? And in this position, if your glute doesn't hit your heel, that's fine. We just need to work on that over time. And the looser this becomes, and the stronger this becomes, this whole hip complex, the greater ability you will have here. Same with the knee, okay? And generally our knees have problems because of the hips and the ankles. They're that connection point between the two. So that feels good. That really did switch off. Stretch it back out. Little dance. Left leg up on the back of the bench there. Much like a Bulgarian split squat, right? Sitting down into it. Making sure that heel is tucked in. Getting that front leg into a strong position. Vertical shin. Like 90 degrees again, like that 90-90 stretch. And then from here, pull that hip forward, anterior tilt. A bit tighter on this side. Knee flexion, glute heel. Hold that position. And we'll stay here for another 30, 45 minutes. And just breathe into that stretch. Once we've done this, we're going to go over a very simple way to then put ourselves into the positions in a movement. So we've worked on internal, external rotation of the hip, adduction, abduction of the hip, and now we're working on knee flexion, hip extension. From here, we'll go into a lunge, which is working through all of them positions in one go, much like a squat. So when you think of it as a cognitive ability, we're teaching our brain these positions in singular setups. So what the squat is a multi-joint movement, which allows us to go through that position in one go, where we're going to be going through all of these different elements within the one movement. So to teach the brain how that should feel, the shape of the movement, we need to be teaching it to be in these positions. So now we've done those 6 different positions, that internal, external rotation of the hip, abduction, abduction, knee flexion, hip extension. We've created the ability for the brain to understand where to go with the squat, the lunge, for example. So now we're going to put ourselves into a much more active position, like so. We're going to go left leg, we're going to bring that knee up high. So again, here you can see, I'm working on an element of external rotation. I'm tightening up this glute. A little bit of abduction. From here, I'm going to lunge forward into that position. That position, knee drives over the toe, knee flexion, okay? Hip extension here, and again, external rotation of that back hip. Once I've felt that position, taught it where to be, it's tight, back up onto that lead leg, toe dorsiflex up to the knee and back. Then what we're going to do is the right leg. So right leg tight, lock it out, lock the quad, lock the glute, knee up, toe to the shin there, up to the knee, dorsiflexion. Again, lean, get that position. Find that position, play around with it. It's in here. Knee goes over the toe, knee flexion, hip extension, a little bit of abduction there, and external rotation of that back hip. Again, all of these elements come together, get a little shake on, back up, drive that knee up. We're going to go back and repeat. Simply, that's how I would approach a good system for the squat and the lunge before training. Hope that helps. Get stuck in. You can do that at home, and it's going to be really beneficial for anyone with tight lower back, tight hips, sore knees, and generally just I mean, all of these positions are used in yoga, but we're looking at how can we use these positions to teach the brain the function of the squat, the lunge, and they're applying it into that position before we go into the barbell work itself. Thank you.